I've gone way too long without discussing this topic, and I just need to get this off my chest, really. There's a lot of things you can criticize America for, even though I think it's pointless because I just live here and I don't have any influence on what I've learned. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't change that or anything. That's like me asking y'all why y'all drive on the right side of the road. And when I mean y'all, I'm talking about the Europeans because they always got the most to say about us. You see, it's just pointless. But the one thing I will not tolerate is y'all talking about Fahrenheit. Yeah, I said it. And I'm dying on this hill too, because it's better than Celsius. Way better, actually. I don't care if literally every other country, besides the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, and Palau, and the Marshall Islands, shout out to y'all. But Fahrenheit just makes sense. Forget that, oh, but water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0. Because that's really the most arbitrary thing to base an entire metric system based off of temperature on. Like, who really cares? I mean, yeah, 200 degrees Fahrenheit is a weird number, but when you need to boil water, you just set it on the stove. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but the typical freezer is set to 0 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 17 Celsius. So why do all that for water? Especially when you need to take into account for other things. Imagine having an entire system based off water instead of practicality. I guess it would be better suited for science, but even when I was taking physics, we mainly used Kelvin, so... yeah, and like a long time ago, I saw this tweet that was like Celsius based for science and Fahrenheit is based off of temperature. And I really vibed with that tweet. So let's get into that. First and foremost, Fahrenheit is more precise than Celsius. It's a fact. You can look it up. 1 degree Celsius is 1.8 degrees in Fahrenheit. So basically every 1 degree Celsius is 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's take a real life example. Let's say the air in your home is normally at 71. But it went to 73. That's a difference you can feel. My old roommate wanted the temperature at 66 and I wanted it at 71. And trust me, that 5 degree difference was enough to throw hands about. Not really, but that's such a vast difference in temperature, especially inside your home. That's the difference between bundling up almost, at least for me. Now let's take that same 5 degree difference in Celsius. 21 degrees Celsius is 71 degrees in Fahrenheit. And 16 degrees Celsius is 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Why did so much movement happen? How is that only a 5 degree difference in Fahrenheit when those are two totally different temperatures? In my house, the temperature is normally 71 to 72, but it can absolutely not go above 73 or 70. Let's check out those temperature ranges in Celsius. 21.6 is 71 degrees in Fahrenheit. 22.2 Celsius is 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and 22.7 is 70 degrees in Fahrenheit. Why? Number one, why do we even need decimals to differentiate the same temperature? That's what I mean by the gap is like way too big. Also, telling the weather is way easier. I saw that the UK had a heat wave once upon a time and it was 30 degrees Celsius. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me check that out because I don't know how hot that is. And it was like only 86 degrees Fahrenheit. How does that insinuate hot-ish? Because 20 degrees Celsius is only 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which is cool-ish. In Fahrenheit, it's so simple. Let me break it down for you. 0 degrees Fahrenheit to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That's very, very cold. 10 to 20 degrees is very cold. 20 to 30 degrees is cold. 30 to 40 is a little chilly. 40 to 50, that's nippy. 50 to 60, that's cool. You warming up, but it's still a little cool. 60 to 70 degrees is warm-ish. Like, it depends if the sun is out, you might not need a jacket. You could maybe rock some short sleeves. 60 to 80 degrees is warm. 80 to 90 degrees is a little bit hottish. And 90 to 100 degrees is hot. Keep in mind that I live in the South and my scale in my head might be different from yours. But every 10 degrees has its own category of like what you would expect, kind of based off of temperature. So if somebody told me, hey, it's 43 degrees, I'm gonna have my jacket on, I'm gonna have my boots on. But if somebody was like, oh, it's 55 degrees, I might just have my jacket on, not my boots, and maybe a lighter jacket. You get what I'm saying? But every 10 has its own category and it doesn't contain the range of 2 seasons unlike Celsius. It's more precise because the example I listed earlier that 20 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius is 68 degrees Fahrenheit and 86. That's the difference between spring and summer. Not to mention that Fahrenheit. Also, one of my biggest questions is with Celsius is like when you have a fever, because in Fahrenheit it is a very, very precise temperature. Like a fever starts at 100 degrees 0.4 Fahrenheit and 38 degrees Celsius. But like a serious fever where you need to go to the hospital is 103 and up, or 39 degrees Celsius. But that's only like a 1 degree difference. So if you just hit 40 degrees Celsius, you dead? Or are y'all just conditioned to be like, all right, let's just go right now? Or, you know what? That's not even my system to be worried about. So yeah, I just hope that one day the rest of the world can really recognize the greatness of what Fahrenheit brings us.